So I'm really glad this evening to receive Musa at Philo Life Wellbeing Education Center. We've met a year ago indeed, and it was at a workshop about emotional intelligence. And we kept in touch and we kept, in fact, deepening our knowledge about emotional intelligence. And today we are going to have this spontaneous discussion, as in bringing our experience and the knowledge we have around the topic, since emotional intelligence is becoming a must and when it comes to education, to work, to jobs, to career. So what do you think, Musa, according to your experience? How do you know that a person needs to work on their emotional intelligence, or how do you kind of like direct people to enhance their own emotional intelligence?
Thank you for welcoming me here. And I think if you ask everyone, are you emotionally intelligent? Most of them, they will say, yes, I'm emotionally intelligent. People tend to exaggerate about their ability, especially if they have status or a position or they are wealthy. Yes, for sure, I'm emotionally intelligent because I have what I have. But most people, if you go deep down, as you know, during your own sessions, you discover a lot of things behind the person. Maybe he looks strong from outside, or she looks strong from the outside, but when you sit with her, she breaks down. And then you know they are not as they show themselves. So there are many questions that we can ask ourselves to know exactly if we are emotionally intelligent or not. One of the questions, like, are we open to evaluate ourselves? Do we think all the time we are right? Do we accept people's opinion, or do we listen to them to understand their point of view or not? So there are many questions. And here I can ask you one question. Let's define what is emotional intelligence.
Exactly. In fact, I mean, we used to hear more about the intelligent quotient or the IQ.
Yeah.
But nowadays we hear more often talks about EQ. What is emotional? What is the emotional quotient? In fact, as according to the name, it's more related to emotions. It's about the ability to be aware of our emotions, our ability to manage our emotions. It's as well our empathy, our compassion, our ability to socialize, our ability to lead at work. So it's a combination related to how good we're able to manage our emotions when it comes to dealing with ourselves and dealing with others. While the IQ is more related to academic achievement, to problem solving, to analytical thinking, and that is more related to achievement as in career achievement. But nowadays we know that the IQ is not enough, and it won't lead to happiness and fulfillment and success. And nowadays companies focus on the emotional quotient. And for that, we need to understand that we are all emotionally intelligent, and even kids are the most emotionally intelligent. It's our upbringing that makes us disconnect from our emotions ultimately, and we find ourselves quite unable to manage ourselves. You mentioned a couple of questions which are really very interesting in terms of like, how do I know if I need to work on my emotional intelligence? Is how do I react when somebody gives me a feedback? How do I react when I'm criticized? Am I able to manage my emotions, to know what I feel, or I do just go into flight mode or freeze mode, and I'm unable to let the emotion be processed and go through me and leave me rather than being stuck in my energy?
Yeah, that's why, like, as you know, emotional intelligence has 4 competencies. Self-awareness, and then self-management. And then after that, you go to social awareness and social management. Most people, they try to focus on to other people and they forget about managing their own emotions, and before that, understanding them. As there is a famous quote that says, you don't see things as they are, you see them as you are. So if you don't work on yourself from the inside and try to understand what is behind your emotion, what's behind your anger, what's behind what you feel, and you will not be able. That's why there's a question I will ask you. can I understand people if I don't understand myself or not?
That's a good question, because ultimately I am interacting as a human being according to my own linguistic map, to my own associations. And if I do not understand my triggers, my values, my cores, I'm unable to connect with anyone because I'm projecting my own truth on the other person. And this is why we are invited to understand and deepen the approach to our own triggers, what comes from childhood, what triggers me, what triggers my anger, what makes me shut down, etc. And on those lines, it is very important for each person to have that self-development work in order to be able to enhance our emotional intelligence and be able to have better relationships, better parenting approaches, better leadership roles. In fact, emotional intelligence goes into every area of our life, and it is impossible to be able to have good relationships with ourselves and others without working on our emotional intelligence.
But most people fail. They think and they need to focus on other people. I think most people, they are not willing to evaluate themselves because they are afraid of the consequences. What do I mean by that? Like, if I evaluate myself and I discover there are some areas I need to work on, it means I need to be committed to work on myself.
Exactly.
And people that don't like to be in that position, they just want to feel they are perfect. There is nothing to do. It is their mistakes. It is their fault. It is their issues. At the moment we reach to a place where, okay, why I'm throwing things onto other people? Let me have sometimes sit by myself and try to think wisely and understand myself. Maybe I'm the one who is mistaken.
In fact, I would say if we are able to come out of that old classic approach of who's right, who's wrong, and understand that people have a different story, a different perspective of the same reality, and that we need to be compassionate, and compassion is part of the social skills in terms of being able to be in the shoes of the other person and try to understand what is their position, why are they reacting this way, and not taking things personal. I mean, this is another thing. Even when at work, my leadership style is not suitable for the employees, I need to be able to adapt and be flexible.
Yeah.
And that usually makes me feel vulnerable as a person. And not many people are ready to be vulnerable. Not many people are ready to dig into their wounds.
And you mentioned something like about don't take things personally. Most people you encounter, they will throw their issues on you. And if you react based on how they react to you, you will not be stable. Because today you meet someone who's angry, he will ruin your day. Tomorrow you meet someone who is happy, he will make your day. So if we depend on other people, on our feelings, they will have the same power to break us down, as the famous quote says. That's why I learned, when I applied to take my time and don't take things personally, and I try to understand the person I'm talking to, where he is coming from, then I will calm down, and then I can help him also understand himself as well. So from your experience, where you see most use of the emotional intelligence, where people need it more?
I mean, people need to enhance their emotional intelligence in terms of like they need to find their weak areas, and that by going through a proper assessment to know where are their weak areas and how to enhance them. And I would say it is useful in every area of life. And I would basically always think that even relationships and kids and parenting relationships are super impacted by how we can enhance our emotional intelligence, because many times we are unable to recognize or help a child to recognize the emotion they are feeling, how to react to it, and how to be aware of other people's emotions at the same time and manage them. So this is where I would say it is essential, and it's becoming part of the educational curriculum, in fact, indeed, nowadays, that we focus on mindfulness, on other tools that are able to enhance the emotional intelligence.
Let me be more realistic a little bit. Previously, when we grew up, we don't need all of this.
Correct.
There is nothing called emotional intelligence. There is nothing called IQ or EQ or these kind of things. And people, they say, we don't need to have this to survive or to live our life in the right way. But if you compare our life before and now, it's different. Now our emotions are being controlled by many things. Social media and, people, they are addicted to many things they were not having in the in the past. So now it's really hard for you to keep your emotions stable, at least for a day. You will be influenced by everything, by the news, by comparing your life with other life. That's why there is a need, and this is the hardest part. People still they are convinced they don't need it. I don't need these kind of things because why I need it? Because deep down, it's just something that
You're on spot when it comes to all this, all that noise that we're having in our life. And at the same time, the previous generations used to be in connection with nature. They used to have their alone time where they would sit and just feel their emotions and be connected to what they are feeling. But nowadays, there are no free moments in the whole day to sit, reflect, and sometimes you're not realizing that you're even thirsty or hungry. People are dehydrated most of the times. So forget emotions. They are not connected even to their body. And this is where the increase of disease is happening. This is where we are seeing an increase in emotional disconnection, increase in percentage of depression, the percentage of anxiety. And this goes back to people losing touch with themselves. And we go back to the need to have a focus on emotional intelligence.
You reminded me by a famous quote that says, nature doesn't hurry, yet everything is accomplished. And you mentioned people now they are living their life in a fast way. Everything fast food, fast mood, fast work. They want to achieve as much as they can. And they lose themselves completely and they lose their emotions and they don't feel there is a quality of what they are doing. Just they get the sense of achievement, but there is no sense of satisfaction within themselves because they are like a robot. Their emotions are lost in the journey and they don't know exactly what they are looking for. And as you said, I know a friend of mine, he fall down because he did not eat anything the whole day. He was busy, and then he saw the time is...
Not only that, I see young people coming just to consult and then they are on antidepressant. And the reason is that they have been through a breakup. So a breakup is obviously going to cause sadness and turmoil and we have to sit with it, etc. So young people have this belief that they cannot sit with anything painful and they need a pill to kind of numb their emotions. And this is leading to an epidemic of antidepressant, of people who are emotionally numb. They come in, no expressions, no feelings, and they've lost connection with the outer world. So the question is, how are we going to create a new generation of young people who are not used to sit with their emotions, feel, mourn, be sad, and they are considering that now there is a pill for everything. This is where the culture is scary.
There is a pill for everything, and people, they are not allowed to share their emotions because they have to bypass it, and this is what they teach us. Be happy, regardless of it. No, you have to experience whatever you are feeling so that you can get rid of it. So, and as you mentioned about depression, most people, whenever they are sad, they feel that I'm depressed. That's why in our coaching sessions, the first question you ask after hearing this, what do you mean? I'm in depression. Do you mean you are sad, or you are under medicine, or you are going through just sadness period of your life? So people, they claim they are in depression because of just emotional state they had it during the day, because they compare their life with the influencers. They are always happy.
True.
They have everything. So I want to be like this. And the moment I feel sadness within myself, immediately I'm depressed.
And to take that discussion one level up, it's more than just what you've just mentioned. It's becoming a trend. Young people are coming to get diagnosed. It's a trend. Like, I get panic attacks, I get depressed, I have anxiety attacks. They want a diagnosis. They don't want to sit and try to just reflect around what they are feeling. They want a label to kind of like get and leave. And this is something that we're seeing recently. We did not used to see it before. So this is where the question again is, how can we raise a future generation without focusing on the importance of allowing a child to get in touch with who they are, leave the gadgets, leave the screens, and get to know the difference between a feeling and another feeling. Because sometimes it is not sadness, but all they know is I'm sad, I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm happy. And then it is more than that. It is disappointment, it is frustration. Now, there is more awareness in schools, and this is helping. But that is to emphasize on the fact that with artificial intelligence, nowadays, everything is one click away.
Yeah.
So it's not anymore about getting information, but it's about how to process information. It's about how to balance your life in a way to be happy, to be healthy. Otherwise, there's no point working. Like, we see people working literally like 20 hours a day and then expecting themselves to be happy and to feel their emotions and not feel numb, etc. Happiness cannot happen unless there is a balance, and this is why emotional intelligence is needed nowadays.
I used to see people that say the purpose of life is to be happy. And this is wrong. The purpose of life is to find your goal, your mission, and then you face the difficulties in life because you have a mission that's going to justify the difficulties that you are facing. And once you take this sentence, the purpose of life is to be happy, I cannot accept I will be sad for a moment. That's why people, they say, I'm in depression, I'm a loser. It's okay for you to lose. It's okay for you to lose some people. It's okay for you to get fired from a job. It's okay for you to fail. It's okay for you to be disappointed. This is part of life. You are not supposed to win all the time. You are not supposed to be successful the moment you try. People, they don't understand this. They just, you have to go through rejections. It's part of your life. You have to go through hard time. You have to break your heart. This is part of your life. And people who understand life, they say, okay, my job is to fight these kind of issues. My job is to overcome and solve these issues, not to feel down the moment I see them. So, and this would make the difference. From here, let me ask you, how to enhance our emotional intelligence? We mentioned the 4 competencies, and we started with 2 things, self-awareness and self-management, and also social awareness and social management. How to start? Now I want to be emotionally intelligent.
So actively, I would say that we need to check in continuously, and when we feel something, to take a break rather than push the emotion away, and be aware of what are we feeling. And sometimes even the emotions could be causing a physical symptom like a headache, or feeling like heavy, or feeling, heaviness on the chest, etc. So this is when we need to check in and understand what was said and caused those emotions, what has triggered me. So doing that check-in continuously is one thing. Second, active listening. Choosing to listen to someone and allowing them to finish their sentence, allowing them to kind of like have their own perspective on the table. So this is something that could be challenging, especially for people who are unable to listen when there are different opinions, which are kind of like clashing with our own opinions. On the other side, I would say that having a journal where we can reflect on the day, what did I do right and I'm proud of, and what would I have wanted to achieve differently. That's another point. We can have the gratefulness exercise where we write what we are grateful for at least every morning, state 5 to 10 things we're grateful for, and it's easy to find. So all of these short, small exercises, even mindfulness exercises, which allows us to breathe slowly, relax the body, and get within, are all short, brief exercises that would enhance the relationship we have with ourselves and with others.
Yeah, and I can mention two things as well. Like you mentioned them, but let me elaborate more about them. Like emotional audit and also journaling. Like by the end of the day, before you go sleep, you just reflect whatever happened today, and you can say, like emotional audit, I started my day happy, and I ended with these feelings. What happened during the day that influenced my feelings? And as we used to say, let's ask what is behind our emotion. What's behind my anger? Is it disappointment? Is it fear? And there is everything you feel, there is something behind it. I mean, there are a few things that we can list, and then we will understand what's behind hate is jealousy most of the time. You are jealous of someone, that's why you hate them, because they are more successful than you. So once we try to list everything and we make an audit on our emotions, we will have a better outcome. This is one. The second one regarding journaling, and you mentioned it earlier, it's part of emotional audit, but you take it in a specific route until you reach to a conclusion in the right way.
Depression itself is a state that is reflecting the fact that I lost my authenticity and I'm no longer able to be myself in a world that is expecting me to be someone else. That's why I retrieve back, and that's why I feel that other people are not accepting of me. And this is where the void starts, and this is where it builds up. If there is no help and support, if there is no voice, no inner voice that can remind that person that they are here on earth with a special mission, having special talents, and that they don't feel worthy of living, then they reach the suicidal thought ultimately. But then here it is, when I am denying my own emotions for a very long time, and I decide that I don't want to feel them, and I start feeling numb, and I want to please others, and I want to be up to other people's expectations, I gradually tame my own inner voice, and I lose myself. And as a person, I start thinking that I'd rather not be here. So again, if I am in touch with my emotions continuously, and nowadays we talk about emotional hygiene, like on a daily basis, I check what is the emotion sitting in my body. Where is it sitting? Where do I feel it? In my gut? Do I feel more of aches in my gut, in my throat? And I do clear it through breathing, through exercise, through running, because emotions are energies. And when they sit for too long, they become chronic disease. So this is where, again, I would say it's about having that emotional hygiene habit of connecting with the body, with the emotion, allowing it, accepting it, and letting it go so that it doesn't accumulate and becomes severe depression and leads to suicidal thoughts.
I can mention something like you cannot heal in the same environment where you get sick. Many of us will work on their emotional intelligence, but if they don't place themselves in the right place, they will keep receiving negative emotions. So first of all, you have to understand where you put yourself. You have to create the healthy environment for you. Then you have to work on yourself. If you are in an unhealthy environment and you keep receiving negative feelings and you are dealing with them on a daily basis, you will get tired with time, and then say, well, I cannot fix anything because they keep coming.
I mean, we cannot show up in the world as victims. We need to be active participants in choices and in taking responsibility that I am choosing to be where I am. And if I'm not able to choose where I am able to work on myself to react to that certain environment in a way that it doesn't lead to my own health and well-being deterioration. So there is a responsibility to take as well.
It is a full journey about self-development. You have to take it so that you can put yourself in the right place. It's not emotional intelligence is part of it.
Environment is another.
Environment, working in your self-esteem, working in your mission, finding your goals, all they will add up to put you in the right place, and then you will be successful, and then you will be satisfied from the inside. There are many people who are considered to be very successful, but they are not.
They are not.
And you can see from the coaching sessions we used to say, they have everything, but they are still not satisfied because they're focused on the wrong things. That's why awareness is very important things. Awareness is the first journey. It change everything, change your focus, change everything.